surreal. It's amazing. It's like one of the greatest things, if not the greatest thing I've ever done in my life. Like, highly
Really?
recommend. Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Damn, dude. Well, congratulations. I mean, on getting the slot and all of that. I mean, it's cool because I only heard of Voyager because of you guys were going to do Eurovision, and then someone linked me. I remember, yo, here's a band that like plays breakdowns on Eurovision. I'm like, what? Like that. That tricked me out
Breakdown,
because
yeah.
I did not expect that. I never expected Eurovision to kind of introduce that, and it was cool checking you guys out and seeing you guys do more progressive stuff. I heard a lot of like kind of contortionist, Tesseract, and then obviously your own vibe and everything. So like, I guess to start off before we get to Eurovision, tell me a little bit about yourself, Voyager, because I genuinely went in blank because I want to discover here first with you and chat.
It's funny that you say you were introduced to Voyager through Eurovision because most people are sort of introduced to Eurovision through bands and through other means. So it's nice to have that
Hmm.
overlap there. Look, what are we? We're I don't know. We're technically a progressive metal band from Perth, Western Australia.
Hmm.
I was originally born in Germany and moved to Australia in 1992. And when I was at university, no one was kind of doing heavy music with melody with keyboards. I was like heavily into power metal around that time, and
Nice.
so keyboards in metal was like, that's not metal type of thing. So I was like, no, it is, it totally
Really?
is, and then
I
kind
mean,
of
Dream Theater and stuff has existed forever. Really? That's weird.
I know, yeah. But I was hanging out, with like just dudes, and they were like, no, you can't have that.
Can't have it. No.
So but it was like, no, you absolutely can. And sort of, then you find a couple of like-minded people at university who are like, yeah, I'm into like Gamma Ray and Rhapsody and Symphony X. And they're like, okay, cool. So started getting into that and formed the band. And, I was fast forward, I used to be the youngest in the band and now I'm the oldest in the band. So, but this lineup has been around
Oh,
for
that
about
took me a
12 years
second to
now.
process. I'm like, did you age slower? I was like, oh, okay, I
You
see.
know, when you've been doing this sort of stuff for a while, you start touring, and some people realize, hey, touring's not for me. This rock and roll lifestyle is not for me. So people kind of drop off, and they've got their own priorities and start doing other things. But then you find the right people that gel together in a really, really nice way, musically and as people, and that's the lineup that we've got now. And so for 12 years, we've been doing this. We've got 7 albums. And
Damn.
Eurovision's kind of always been a thing that I've been into for a very long time, since I was a kid, in fact.
Hmm.
And then it's one of those things you're like, oh, we're a metal band from Perth, Western Australia, one of the most isolated capital cities in the world. There is no way we're ever going to be on Eurovision, but you kind of hope and you dream. And then when Australia joined in 2015, you're like, ha,
Right.
hashtag Voyager for Eurovision. And then you're like, oh, maybe. And then we kept trying and trying and trying, and this year was it. It was just, yeah, it's bizarre, but it feels right. It feels like we were like trained and born for this.
Dude, hell yeah! In Australia, how is the scene for Eurovision? Like, are people usually excited? Do they keep up with it? Like, how's it going over there usually?
Look, it's awesome, and I think if you're into Eurovision properly in Australia, you are into it like a fan, because you got to get up at 3 a.m. or 5 a.m. if you're on the East Coast to
Oh
actually watch it
shit!
live. So yeah, it's crazy. So people have Eurovision parties, and like if people watched it live, they're like diehards. So like pro rata, I think we did pretty well in terms of viewership, and it's just great. And there's a lot of people with European background in Australia, so it's kind of migrated its way into the zeitgeist of what we do, and it's a party, and Australians love a party, so it just seems perfect.
Dude, I've had a few really dope like Australian musicians on the show too, and they always ask me too, like, when are you going to visit Australia? And I'm like, I don't think I can survive like the PVE, like the wilderness out there. Like, you guys have some crazy. It's the same thing with Canada. People think they come to Canada and there's like fucking beavers and igloos, and people have stop by and pet mooses on their way to Tim Hortons. But as far as I've been told in Australia, it's not as the internet says it is.
Well, it's kind of like, yeah, well, I was promised beavers when I went to Canada, and then I was in the middle of Ottawa, and I was like, "Where's the beavers at, man?"
It's waste of a trip.
No,
I know. Yeah.
right? No, we've got some critters and things. It's funny, when I moved to Australia in '92, my classmates in Germany, they bought me this book called Dangerous Australians, and it was like sharks and spiders, and I'm like, dude, like, come on, I'm 11, like, don't scare me.
amazing gift. Hey guys, I'm moving. Oh yeah, here are things that are going to kill you in Australia. Thank you.
Exactly. That was that. It was that and the ozone layer, the hole in the ozone layer. They were very, very keen to explain to me that there is this hole in the ozone layer, and I absolutely have to wear sunscreen all the time, which is true.
That's amazing, man. Well, I guess when it comes to all that, so you guys are doing Voyager, and I know you tied a little bit into it, but like, how does one even start the process of like, hey, I want to be involved in this crazy thing called Eurovision, which I mean, is it the biggest music competition in the world at this point? It seems like it's the most talked about, but I don't know if there's anything even in America that comes close to Eurovision.
Look, yeah, I mean, it's been going for 67 years, and it's got a viewership of close to 200 million people worldwide. So I would say, yeah, it's huge.
I didn't know it was that big.
It's big. And that's the scary part, when you're about to go on stage and someone's like, oh man, you're about to play to 200 million people live. And you kind of go, well, okay. And you've got to unfocus and just focus on the 11,000 people that are in the arena, which is a lot of people. Like, don't get me wrong, that is still a lot of people. We've played shows to far fewer people than that, let's say. And so, yeah, the process is kind of like, because in Australia we have finals, so we have like internal selection.
Okay.
And so there's this thing called Australia Decides, and you put forward your songs through a portal, and they either get matched with an artist, or you decide, I actually want to perform this myself. We did that a couple of times. We got almost in the top 10. They featured the ones who didn't make it, a short snippet of one of our songs, Runaway, from the last album. And then we tried again, and we entered the song Dreamer, and we got through, and we came second. The popular vote was huge. We lost out on the jury vote, so we didn't get to go. But we were like, people were like, oh, you must be disappointed. It's like, no, this is amazing. We came second. Like, this is incredible. And then this year, there was no internal selection process, and SBS, the national broadcaster, just decided, hey, you know what? I'm just going to send Voyager, because people seemed to really enjoy them last year. And when we had that call, we had that tap on the shoulder, we were just like, this is crazy. And then it's like a marathon leading up to it, because we knew for quite a few months. And the preparation, the amount of preparation, the amount of stuff, the amount of talking about the contest, the song, everything, and then actually being there on stage for that last 3 minutes. What a journey, like, just incredible.
Well, I know Australia, you guys have crazy metal bands. Like, you guys are winning in the metal scene, no doubt. Are there also metal bands that tried to go for the Eurovision slot, or were you guys one of the few actual like metal acts that tried to go for it?
In Australia, absolutely, yeah. And we're the first band that Australia's ever sent, which is really cool. But I think there've been certainly in the contest itself, there've been some metal bands. I think there was like a Norwegian black metal band called Keep of Kalesen who made it into the finals, their national selection finals, Norwegian band. But they're like metal, like black, like proper black metal.
Right.
So, but I don't think they actually made it into the contest. So I think like the heaviest that's ever been is probably like Lordi, and actually a couple of years ago, Blind Channel from Finland, who actually came sixth, which is incredible. They're like a new metal type thing, which is really, really cool. So yeah, it's definitely been around, and like it's perfect for it. Metal's perfect for it, because metal's drama, metal's huge, metal's like larger than life, and so is Eurovision.
Well, it's so energetic, right? And that's when I heard about Eurovision, I think a few years ago. That's the first thing I saw. Was just, no matter which band it is, even like the ballady sad bands, everyone's dressed up, it's energy, it's wild, which I think is exciting, because we don't get a lot of that in metal scene or in just music in general. So even though I know some of it's like gimmicky and it's like, stupid or whatever, it's fun, and I think it's something unique and special, and I really love that. And what actually got me into Eurovision was when Electric Callboy was like, we're doing this thing Eurovision. I was like, oh, okay. Like, and then looking more into it, I was like, damn, this is a big deal. And of course they didn't go through. But even, those years, and I look back a few other years, there wasn't a lot of metal acts. There was, like you mentioned, one here or there. But it seemed like this year, there was like a few harder rock, heavier acts. And I was like, that's exciting. That's something that is, I'm all for as a metal kid. I think it's something that also opens it up to the metal sphere, Eurovision, which I feel like before, maybe a couple of years ago, the metal scene would be like, everyone would be like, what's that? Even though it's so big.
Yeah, you're right. It was an exciting year for metal. I mean, people poo Eurovision to go, it's kitschy and whatever. It's like, but it is an incredible platform for music, and it's incredible platform. If someone said to you, hey, do you want to play to 100? Do you want to play to 180 to 200 million people on live television? You'd be like, yeah, absolutely. I want people to hear my stuff.
Yeah.
So the fact that we had like Lord of the Lost from Germany and us, like what was wonderful about, and I said this in a lot of interviews, is that yes, we're both metal, but if you listen to them, they're a completely different type of metal. Like our songs sound nothing alike, and yet we're both categorized as metal. So people who have got no idea about metal, who might go, nah, metal's not my thing because they're thinking it's Slayer and Cannibal Corpse, you know, they then listen to that and go, I like this.
Right.
This is metal. Maybe I do like metal, you know?
Exactly. No, that's amazing. And yeah, metal has gotten so diverse in that sense too, where it's there's no, I mean, even New Sleep Token, everyone's talking about New Sleep Token record and going crazy, and it's like people are like, it's a metal band, sure, and then they do like these soft, really sad ballads, and then in the same song they'll like do drop, you know, B0 hilarious tuning, you know, screaming over the whole thing to end it. Oh, bands are getting dumb nowadays. It's great. So
it's awesome, and that's exactly right. Like if you went into, you know, traditional CD shop, remember those things?
Oh,
and you go in and say, and you go metal, you just walk past it if you went into the category, right? And you've got these wonderful things just sitting there looking at you, like Sleep Token, Voyager. You know, you've got so much stuff. You've got like, I mean, listen to Devin Townsend's done like ambient albums, but it's probably still in the metal category, and it's so absurd that people just go straight past it and go for something that's far less quality when they've got quality sitting right in front of them.
Yeah, and that's why I was so stoked again about when I saw you guys were in Eurovision, as well as Lord of the Lost, and even the Cha 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 band. I can never pronounce their name right, even though, you know, they're not metal; they're more like electric.
The guy's got a Rammstein tattoo. Like that's like half of that song is metal.
I know. I'm always stoked because as a person, you know, I listen to a bunch of different stuff, but it's like I like seeing when those worlds collide and come together, because I want to see more of that, you know, metal reaching more of that mainstream audience. I'm like, yo, what better way than through like Eurovision to showcase it in such a fun, unique way. But yeah, I guess when it comes to the, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and if you look at just even visually how metalheads have changed over the years. You know, I've been around for a while when there used to be like a metal uniform, right? So you'd have to wear your metal T-shirt and, you know, have you kind of, you know, your patches and all sort of stuff. And over the years, it's changed. You know, you can have people who would not look like metalheads, but they're like, oh, I'm into Archspire. You're like, wow, that's so cool. You know, so that's like, these are kind of things that evolve over time.
If Canada ever gets chosen, they better send Archspire. That's all I'm saying. They better send them over there.
I want to see Archspire at Eurovision, please.
I want to see them do their usual Twister thing in the show. I want to see them do it for Eurovision. Here you go, guys. You guys know Twister? And just throw it out there.
Like when we did, because we decided, you know, we were umming and ahhing about putting that growl in that breakdown, because, you know, it's Eurovision. So, you know, you put one growl in, people go, whoa, and you look at the reaction videos. Yeah, and I just want to see the reaction videos to Archspire. It's just 3 minutes, just people just going.
I would love that, man. I would love to see that. And again, with stuff like what happened here, like that opens the door for crazier stuff to happen and music evolving and not just being like these divided communities. I think, which is again, I think is beautiful. And again, huge kudos to you guys for helping push that with what you're doing with your band and with Eurovision. But yes, when it comes to, I guess, the process, because again, I feel like a lot of people have no clue, and even people that watch Eurovision probably religiously have no clue. So you guys, you know, you went through, you know, in Australia, I forgot what you called it as the
national finals. Yeah,
exactly.
Let's call it that.
And you get the call. You guys are going to be the ones. How is that call for you guys? You know, through management or whatnot. Is that like what? Like, how's that day for you guys?
It takes a lot to sink in, because you realize the journey that's ahead of you, because you know what Eurovision's about, and you know you've got this goal, which is 3 minutes in the grand final. You have to get to that. You've got to go through the semi-finals first, you know. So it's not a guarantee. There's for those of you who don't know, there's 5 countries that go through to the final directly. They're the big 5.
Yeah.
I think they spend the most amount of money on the contest. But then there are semi-finals, and so you've got semi-finals that are watched by probably about 5 or 6 million people. We actually won our semi-final, which is awesome, which is incredible. Thank you. Yep. And then you know, when you get that call that you're doing Eurovision, you're then focused on that and getting through to those last 3 minutes, which is your moment of glory. So it's it's such a surreal feeling to know that you're about to do this in a few months' time, and it's so far away yet so close. And you go, I've got to, like, what am I going to wear? You know, what am I going to? You've got to start thinking about things that you don't normally think about when you're just a touring band. And there was this really wonderful moment where we were at Eurovision and we were about to do some interview or something like that. And we had to be, in full gear and everything. And we all walked out. We all had our state. Everyone's thinking about, what am I wearing? Have I got this jacket? Have I got this jacket?
Right.
And Alex, our bass player, is like, man, I forgot my bass. I'm just too focused on what I'm wearing. So you had to go back to the hotel. So your focus kind of shifts on that one particular song that you've got on perfecting the performance and perfecting everything. And it's a really different way of approaching it rather than approaching like a European tour or a North American tour, for example. Your checklist is vastly different.
Well, I was going to ask that because it's like if you're going on Eurovision, I would assume the checklist is more like, let's have the biggest bang in the most minimal amount of time as entertainers, as of course still musicians writing, having a good song. But like I'm assuming the focus is more like, let's make sure the people that watch this lose their mind visually as well as through the music itself, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you've got 3 minutes, which is so vastly different to when you're doing a show. When you're doing a show, you can conserve your energy, but you can go, all right, I'm going to go hard here. But like I remember doing the Australian finals, it is like a cardio marathon sprint for 3 minutes. They're like, go, and you've got 3 minutes to like impress me, Whereas you don't have the ability to sort of get into it. You don't have the ability to structure a set. Let's have some highs and have some lows. Those highs and those lows have to be in the song. So when you're creating the song, it's very important to make sure you've got staging in mind as well. So when we wrote Promise, it was very much about staging, about like saying, okay, let's start with mystery. Let's then, give them something to level up. And then, the lights come sort of higher. Then you go bang, a rock moment, and you pull back again. And then another rock moment, catchy chorus, then pull them back and crush them with the breakdown, and then emerge in this beautiful kind of little piano-y thing, which is very Eurovision, and then end on like, what's the most glorious thing that you can end on? Right. Well, how about a mountaintop guitar and guitar solo with like a big sort of Devin Townsend scream at the end? That's what's going through our mind. You got to cram all that into 3 minutes, still be true to yourself, still be true to your genre.
Right.
And like it's got to pop out, because at the end of the day, think about it. Like you're sitting there, you're watching this, and you're going, nah, don't like it.
I was specifically wasn't. I was going, hell fucking yeah, but I see where you're going.
Okay,
yeah.
You were. You know what I mean? It's like you've got a very short time to impress people, and you want them to lean in. And I remember one of the things that we were pushing for at Eurovision so hard was we wanted a complete blackout moment before the breakdown. We wanted people to be like, is my TV okay? Like, is everything all right?
Yeah.
And you want to pull people in, and I think we succeeded in doing that. But you're right; it's a completely different process to doing a full set, a full show, because it's go from the get go.
Yeah. I don't know if you've watched the movie. How accurate is the movie Eurovision when it comes to that?
Look, it's a bit cringy, the movie, but it's fun, and it's got all the Eurovision stars in it. There's a degree of accuracy to it.
Okay.
I think, but it's far more organized and far more controlled than just being able to waltz up and just like do a completely different song on the line.
Okay.
Fun fact, I'm in that movie. I'm actually in that movie. I'm in the audience. So I went to Eurovision in Tel Aviv in 2019.
Okay.
And I was in the crowd. Like I'm a huge fanboy of Eurovision. So I was there for we were watching the whatever semi-final dress rehearsal for whatever it is. And all of a sudden, my friend's like, is that Will Ferrell? Is he on stage? And we're like, nah, that's not what? And so he comes on stage and he's like, yeah, we're shooting a movie. I'm like, what, how? And so he's like, I want to, and they do like crowd shots and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a scene in the movie where a friend of mine actually watched it and like circled me with my white jacket in the audience.
Dude,
it's great. It's a great fun movie.
I had no idea. Like I thought that was just an isolated crowd. I had no idea. They were like, yo, okay, we know Eurovision's going on. 1 second. We paid a lot of money. Just everyone chill, just play along, and then we'll be gone. I had no idea that was
the genuine, the crowd is genuine Eurovision crowd. Yeah, right there, 2019 in Tel Aviv. It's crazy, right?
I never would have expected. Yeah, especially when watching Will Ferrell do all that shit. It's not.
It's so funny. But
Oh
look,
my.
it's great, and it probably brought Eurovision and what it's about to the North American
Yes.
audience, because the North American audience is not so familiar with it. And I don't know, like I should probably ask you, like, what was your first experience seeing it? Were you like, what is this? Is this absurd? Is it ridiculous? Did it draw you in? Did it go, oh no, I don't want to? Well, you're here talking to me, so you must have liked it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. When I first, I was actually intrigued by the quirkiness of it. You know, like the wackiness and the fun and the up and over and everything's exaggerated because I'm not used to seeing that in the metal scene, and because it has that wonder and stupid fun to it. It was like I feel like I guess a lot of metalheads probably that might turn them away because they just want their serious, very serious this type of music. I'm just like, no, this is fun, man. Like, this is great. But I also did watch the Eurovision movie first, so I think that helped me kind of
There you
that
go.
helped me get into it. I think and kind of expect it and have a bit more fun with it. And even like the music itself is a lot of bands are doing. Of course, like the non-metal bands. Like I think it's cool and exciting, and yeah, it reminded me of American Idol back in the day when it was like fun and just dumb and obviously more for TV and no one, cared, but on an actual professional level where people did care about the like music
Yeah,
being played
exactly.
and stuff, which I think was,
Yeah.
I just thought it was special. And that's why I was like, yes, like heavier bands in general being represented here. Cause you're right. Like the American audience, North American audience just doesn't know, which is wild, including myself. I'm like shocked at myself that I didn't even know about it until so long because of how big Eurovision is. It's like, how does that
Yeah.
even, how does that disconnect even happen with something that's that big?
Exactly. And look, if you look at, what is North America is known for doing things larger than life. It's
Yeah,
the big story, it's the big event, it's everything. Look at the Super Bowl and those kinds of things.
exactly.
These are huge, huge North American events that kind of go, well, if you like it that big, surely you'd like Eurovision, because that is totally over the top. Like, it is silly over the top. But at the
Yes.
same time, there's something very serious behind it. Like the professionalism in terms of putting on live television with those many acts. I don't know if you've seen the changeover things. It's like 40 seconds where they wheel their car off stage, they wheel grand pianos on. There's insane amounts. Like, if you tell someone, oh, we're going to do a show and we're going to have 40-second changeovers, they're going to be like, you have got to be joking. Like, there's no way we can do this. And it's live. So there is a seriousness in terms of the professionalism and the
Mhm.
lighting show and the work that goes into it. But the music isn't necessarily, and the stage show isn't necessarily serious. But
Right,
it's kind
right.
of like it's kind of like Devin Townsend. I want that, you use him as example.
Mm.
He takes himself not that seriously, but he takes his music very seriously
Yes.
at times, and at other times it's fun. And I think that's really nice.
He's
I love
extremely
metal and I love
professional, but he's fun, and that's I think a very
exactly.
important thing to do if you are fun. Is and a lot of people get shocked too if you're like a very professional, on the dot, coordinated person, but like maybe your persona or just who you are is like very fun and outgoing. People might expect, oh, this person's just going to be wacky and not really care and like
Yeah,
just screw around. But no, a lot of people that do that, they're more on than most people. Like they're very like,
exactly,
let's go,
exactly.
and they don't mess around with that.
And and looking at the production value and the way that, I mean, you get told to, in the in-ear monitoring room, there's like color coded squares about where you have to sit to make sure where you are at particular times, and there's timers and clocks and everything. So it's like such an amazingly smooth operation,
Right.
that, behind the scenes is extremely complicated and requires thousands and thousands of people. Just the cabling alone, oh man, seeing the backstage cabling, like, it's nuts. And then, just to see how it all comes together in this amazing 3 hour or 4 hour show live. Like, this is live television. That is, I don't know why people would get into live television, because it's way too stressful. Like, I see people running around with, like, they're just exfoliating their faces going, oh my God, what am I doing? And then, but once it's done, it's like, that was magnificent. And that's why I think, again, there's that magic of Eurovision. Things can go wrong,
Yes.
and that gets everyone excited. You see the difference in the vibe in the room between, like, a dress rehearsal, which they run the whole show, and they obviously record it, etc., just in case something does go wrong on the
Right.
last, so they can change to the dress rehearsal. But the vibe's completely different in the room.
Right.
Whereas on the night, it's like cameras are on, it's electric, and everyone feels it, and it's really special.
I was gonna ask, so like when it comes to the bands, I guess, versus like the crew, I'm assuming the crew is like they've just been doing this for so many years. They're like, I know, we can get it done, get it done. What's like the vibes, feelings of a lot of the bands there? Is there a lot of like instant anxiety from everyone? Like what's the vibe when you got there and kind of got introduced to a lot of the bands that were going around there, at least?
Yeah, the vibe is, well, we're here, and I think we're lucky because we did a lot of the Eurovision pre-party, so they're Eurovision concerts before Eurovision.
Right.
So the artists do, like, we did Madrid, London, Amsterdam, and these are huge events. There's like 5,000 people at these shows, and televised to hundreds of thousands. Yeah, and these are the pre-parties. So a lot of the artists will get a chance to, play their song in a different environment, play it with, meet the other artists, etc. And it's a really great way to, I guess, prepare for the big event. I can't imagine how it would feel for artists who don't do that and have got they fly into Liverpool and it's like Eurovision. You're flying in and you get your first rehearsal, which by the way is 30 minutes with 20 minutes in the viewing room. Like there's a clock, just there's a countdown,
wow, okay.
And you get no more. So I remember when we got there and you walk onto that stage for the first time, you're like, oh my god, this is insane. There's LEDs on the floor, the lighting is insane. And then you've got your prop, like there's the car on stage, and you get in, and it's like, all right, bang, camera this, camera that, and it's very, very choreographed because you've got to look at certain cameras, at certain, at certain cue points, and we're not used to doing that as artists,
right.
Especially not playing live. I do whatever the hell I want when I play live. If I want to look at you, if I want to look over there, so it's kind of super. You're kind of super anxious because you don't know the stage, you don't know your props, you don't know your positioning, really. You don't know what's going on. You're getting used to the steady cams and all the people there. Yeah. But I remember when we walked up onto that stage and saw it, we were like, this stage was like literally built for us. Like it felt so right and so natural. And I remember the head of the production for the BBC who put this on, we met in a hotel, we're having a drink, and he said, when we designed that stage, we wanted to make it so special. And when you guys rehearsed, we were like, these guys are using the stage like it's supposed to be used. Yes. And that to me meant a lot because these people are creating stuff for us to use and we're using it in the way that it's supposed to be used. That's right. Amazing. So after having talked to him about that, I was like, yeah, I don't need to be anxious anymore. We got this. We're all good.
Dude, no, that's on. Again, your guys' performance was beautiful. Like it was flawless, and it was great seeing all the energy and you guys really taking command of what was happening. This huge stage, very different environment, right? Like it's great to see you guys do that. I guess if you can take me through like you're going on stage. Like, is it one of those everything's happening? Is it like a blackout moment and you just do the thing, or like was there a lot of like thinking and moments? What went through those 3 minutes? Did it feel like 5 seconds? Did it feel like an hour? Like how did that go for you guys?
Yeah, it feels way shorter because we're used to doing an hour-long set, whatever, or 75, 80 minutes. So you kind of like, you want to do more. You get off and you want to just do more. Because I'm just getting started. So you've got to make sure that you've got all this excitement, all this adrenaline going on, and you've got to scale it back because you've got to start. I'm starting in a car like this. I've got to be all casual, So it's about winding back that adrenaline. But you kind of run up. You see the crew. Everyone's putting stuff on stage. And I think the key for me was because I'd gotten to know the crew, I'd gotten to know the camera people, I'd gotten to know all the people around it. You see familiar faces and you kind of have a bit of a joke around with them. You're ready to go, all good. Someone comes and cleans my windscreen to make sure there's no, no fingerprints or anything on it. Right. I pretend to give him some money, go, thank you. That kind of, and that kind of breaks the ice a little bit. And then you're there and then you hear this and you're like, and then it starts and you're like, oh my god, like it's just, this is on. And then a lot of it becomes muscle memory because you've rehearsed it so many times. You go and you're more worried about where you're looking in terms of the camera to make sure that shot is correct. It's like camera 35 cameras, and you've got to remember where to look. God. Yeah. Holy shit. So it's like this line, look at that camera. Do this line, do a little cheeky wink to this camera. You're gonna have to wink, stuff like that I would never think about when I'm playing live, right? Normally, so you're in that, and you've got to coordinate your vocal performance, your breathing, I'm standing up in the car where I'm looking. So there's a lot of things to remember. And when you're in that moment, you kind of forget a little bit how awesome it is. So then, there's this point where I get out of the car and I just, and I walk towards the audience and and I start singing the second verse to the audience, and then you can start feeling the audience, and it's so awesome. Right. And then you feel like you're in your element. It's like, I can relax now. I've got this. I've done this many, many times.
Right.
And then bang, it's like the big choruses again. You can go a bit wild. Yes, it's still controlled, but it's a bit more about that energy. And then, you take the guitar out and you do your solo, and people are going nuts. Like, you can hear it through your in-ears. It's phenomenal. And you do have points where you're just like, I'm at Eurovision and I'm performing on this amazing stage to all these people. This is one of the greatest.
I wanted to ask, do you have any time or mental time to like actually be there, mentally, and like take in, holy shit, this is happening, instead of just don't fuck up, like.
Yeah. That goes through your head a lot.
Yeah.
But you can't think about it too much. Like and there are moments, I don't know, I'm just speaking for myself, but there are moments where you can just go, oh my God. And it's generally when you can feel the energy, you can feel the crowd, and it might only be like 3 seconds or 4 seconds, but you feel it, and it's so electric. And I think it comes across in on the screen, because you're looking and your insides are smiling at the camera, and people can see that in the televisions, people can see that in the audience. I think the trickiest part is, particularly as a live band, is sometimes you feel like you're neglecting the audience that is there, because the priority is the people in TV land.
Right.
You're playing to them, because there's 180 million people versus 11,000 people. So you're like, sorry.
That would be sick if it was 11 million people though sitting right there. Maybe soon, in a couple of years, when Eurovision has enough money, and North America comes in and submits a country band, we'll get to there.
Exactly. But you're kind of like, I'm sorry, guys. Like, and you want to interact with the crowd, which is normally what I do, but you kind of and that's, I think, the only tricky part as a live artist. Whereas if you're a voice, or if you're a idol contestant or whatever, you're used to just playing to the cameras.
Yeah.
So that's the trickiest part. But I think we found the balance of both, because there are moments when we felt very important that we need to interact with the crowd. I want to be able to see a face in the crowd. I want to be able to point to it and go, yeah, thank you for being here. So it's such a magical moment, and 3 minutes is just not long enough. You just want to continue. You get off that stage, you're like, was that it? Come on.
Are you worried? Because that's just like such a crazy, again, that's the Super Bowl for musicians. Like, are you ever like, damn, that high, will we ever get it again? Will there be another moment like that, to that degree, just because it's so crazy and it's just such an event?
Yeah, you do worry about that, but like we did the pre-party, so we did like Amsterdam and London, and they've felt like mini Eurovisions already. We're like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Right.
Like, there was pyrotechnics and the whole crowd had glow sticks and stuff, and you felt that energy. You're like, surely we can't go back from here. But then we did our own headline show in London, which was like a small, sweaty club show, just the way we like it.
Right.
And it felt so good. It felt so cathartic, because we could just do what we wanted to do. Right. And there was moments there where we're like, this almost feels better. It's different. It's different better. You know what I mean? So I'm not worried that I won't have those experiences. I'm probably quite glad that hopefully I won't have those Spinal Tap moments anymore, where you're playing to 3 people in a hotel somewhere. Those moments I can live without. Although those moments are sometimes the most beautiful, and they shape you as a musician and a human being.
That's true. So I have to ask. How did y'all get away with playing a breakdown in front of Eurovision? Because I don't know if there's been a band that's played like a modern metal breakdown. Like the low tune, we got a scream in there. I don't know. I haven't watched every Eurovision, but I don't think a band has pulled that off until you. Now, yeah. How did you guys convince? Like, how did that happen? Because that is a beautiful milestone that the metal scene needs to thank you, even if they know your band or not, for doing something like that and introducing the crowd to what an actual breakdown is for the first time. How did that happen?
Yeah. It's kind of mandatory. Like, we did it in the Australian finals as well. And when we wrote Promise, we're like, okay, it's like a synth track, and then it's rocky, it's metal.
Right.
People might not see it as metal. We're like, no, we are a metal band. We need to bring the metal there. And at that moment, I wanted that stop, and I wanted something. They call it, a producer called it a left turn. They're like, oh, we need a left turn, and it's like, you mean a breakdown, right? I don't know what you call it in TV land, but we call it a freaking breakdown. It's where we crush you, and
Yes.
and so we wanted the 1 2 3 4 1 pull back and then bang, and the growl just comes naturally, and we were like, oh, do we do it or do we not do it? And to the credit of the Eurovision team, the producers that we had here, they were like, leave it in, it's great.
Yeah.
And because they were like, yeah, this is we want you to be yourselves. We want you to be quintessentially a metal band. We don't want you to forget your roots and become a pop band all of a sudden. That's not what you are. So then we're like, oh, how do we make it tasteful but heavy at the same time? And like it's actually really heavy. It's like a don 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 don.
Well, because it also contrasts with the more melodic, bigger prog like synthy song, right? Like that's why it's a perfect thing to do. And I think it has probably more impact than like if like a metalcore or a deathcore band went on there and did it, because they would just be like, well, this is the whole song. It doesn't. People aren't able to appreciate it. They'll just be like, well, I'm not into this type of music, so I'm not going to like this. Instead of like, oh, I like this, and then whoa, what is that? Like that's something different for me, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think the way we pushed it through was just kept calling it that left turn. It's like that little left turn that we do. And they were like, oh, well, we need a left turn, so we need to have that in there.
Well, yeah, and that's why when watching this year and seeing again, you guys do that, Lord of the Lost, like I did not expect to hear. I genuinely thought you're like not allowed to scream in Eurovision. Like it's like not same thing. Like you can't have double kick, you can't scream. Almost it's like radio rules, right? Like that kind of thing, like rock radio rules. And when I even heard like Lord of the Lost like scream, I was like, this okay, like this is interesting. I didn't know this was I just didn't know it was allowed in this kind of space. Except for like one maybe energetic scream, right? But like consistently, I was like, exactly. Oh,
we allowed like you allowed that
exactly.
There's quite a few rules in Eurovision, but not that many actually. The rules are you're going to have a 3-minute song, can't be more than 3 minutes. You can't have more than 6 people on stage. All main vocals that can't be mimed, can't be auto-tuned, you can't do any of that. But and you can't have swearing. Which is probably why Electric Callboy had some issues with their song.
and yeah, a lot of people are also mentioning AWS. Yes, okay, they're sick too, and they did some cool rides. Okay, yes, chat, fair enough. Yeah. Sorry, continue.
But apart from that, you can kind of pretty much do anything. You can have garden gnomes on stage. Ireland sent like a turkey called Dustin the Turkey like 3 times. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do. Yeah. I think that was twice actually, yeah, because I think the rumor is that Ireland was like, Eurovision's too expensive, we can't win it, so we just send a turkey. Like it was like a puppet turkey called Dustin. You look it up.
I have to look that up. I have to see that. That's amazing.
But you can have milkmaids churning milk on stage. You can have all sorts of stuff. And screams and that sort of stuff is actually not that crazy because it is pretty theatrical. But yeah, seeing Lord of the Lost, he's got a killer growl, killer scream on him. So it was like that's those moments where the whole crowd is like, oh my god, I'm actually at a metal concert, and it's really cool to see. It's really, really nice to see people embrace that part.
Yeah, it was amazing because I saw little pieces of the metal scene in all your guys' bands in terms of like I never thought like again like a metalcore band or like a really heavier band could ever do that. And I was like, we got breakdowns from Voyager, we got screams from Lord of the Lost, and then we have like Rammstein electronics from again I always mess up their names, so I'm just gonna say the Cha 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 band for now. Yeah. I was like, oh, like that's so cool, and that really excited me about this year, as well as the music in general was cool from like the other acts and all. But I was just like, wow, this feels like this is changing and evolving into something that like the metal scene will really care about, and broader than just Europe, like North America. Because I think once they get into that, then it's TikTok and Twitter, and all that stuff, the American side going crazy, which I know, during Eurovision, like in Europe, all the social medias are just only talking about Eurovision. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but you're right. And it's like, I watched a lot of reaction videos. It's one of my favorite things to do when the song came out, reaction videos. And, people were like, oh, this is cool. I love this. This is great. And then the growl and then the breakdown. People were like, oh, and they felt something.
Right.
And a lot of people had never been exposed to that. I remember when I first was listening to metal and I was like, oh, I don't know, this growl. Like I went from like Nirvana to like Typo Negative, and then all of a sudden like Emperor and like Norwegian black metal.
That's a stretch. Yeah, that's
right? And like, what is this sorcery? But then my hope is that people kind of go, "That's cool. I like what I felt during that
mhm,
breakdown." And yes, it was just a small taste of and people are trying to do it. We went on breakfast television here.
right.
We went on breakfast television, which is like the most vanilla thing you can imagine,
Right.
and we were teaching the hosts to growl. They were like,
That's awesome.
and then and it's like that's a thing that makes you feel, and that's what metal's about. Like it makes you feel something that's
Mhm,
aggressive and guttural and whatever, and you can kind of let it all out. And so I'm hoping
mhm.
it's a gateway for a lot of people who then might hear a growl and go, oh, that's not. I've heard that before. It's not that crazy, and I will give that more of a
Exactly.
listen.
Well, it's just like
Yeah,
it's all energy, right? Like you can have an EDM song that goes as hard and as heavy as like a metal song if it can match that energy. It's just even nowadays, like I think much more of metal is just a medium of you go throw any type of different music and you just pump it in with double kicks and extra distortion and tune the guitars a little lower maybe, and it's just like, oh well, that
yeah,
one's metal, but it's I like the idea of just like metal being on a like spectrum of music instead of it being like here's this divided thing where it's like metal, and you gotta really love screaming and really extreme stuff instead of just like, hey, pop bands, you wanna match this more intense energy in some capacity. Why don't you throw in a scream or tune the guitars down on a 9 string and see what happens? Like try it out.
100%.
And that's what I love about what you guys are doing and how that went through Eurovision in that sense. I feel like that essence was something so special.
100%. And like, you don't have to call it metal necessarily. Call it heavy music. Because
Yeah,
listen to like a hardcore drum and bass track with all that energy, and like that's still heavy music.
yeah, we
It's you
100%.
listen to, So I think people get put off by the moniker of metal, which is sad because I think as I said, most people do still think that metal is Slayer and Metallica and Pantera, and it's
Yeah.
something so much more than that.
And they discovered Metallica only through Stranger Things now, right? The world we live in.
I know, right? But
It's
but it's
crazy.
great. People need their little gateways. People need their discoveries, and if we can be part of that discovery process, for us and band like All of the Lost can be, that's awesome. And if
Mhm.
if Eurovision fans become fans of us, that's a win.
Mhm.
If Eurovision fans then through us discover other things, amazing. I've had I've posted about some bands that I'm into, some things that I'm listening to, and a lot of people who had no idea about metal before, like, oh, I love this. There was a Slovenian band called Neurotech that I've been posting about. We absolutely love it. They've got a new album out. It's kind of like synthy, I don't know, synthy industrial metal, and people were like, oh, this is great. And I've never listened to metal, and I'm really enjoying this because I love a bit of EDM and I love a bit of
Exactly.
electronic music. So it's all good. If it stirs something in you and gives you energy, it's great.
If it good, it good. Exactly. That's amazing,
If
dude.
it good, it good.
If it good, it good, right? Like, and that's what I was stoked. I mean, Sleep Token album was just great in general, but I'm just so stoked at what I think it'll do for the future because it's one of those albums that John refuses and blends so intensely, where you have deathcore kids listening to the ballads and being like, "This was beautiful," and you're like, "Whoa!" And then you have people that never have listened to metal in their life from the ballads and more chill stuff and softer stuff, and in the same song, like I said, they'll go to like drop B0, and you're like, "What?" Like, I love that
Yeah,
that's a contrast that can be worked and combined in a song and done well. Because I feel like bands
done well.
maybe in the past have tried it, but it's just a lot of times the execution goes off, and then either it's like the metalheads are like, this is some radio stuff, or the other people are like, this is just heavy nonsense, right? Instead of like just
It's
blend it,
yeah.
yeah.
There's a Finnish band called Stratovarius, who are like a hardcore power metal band,
Hmm.
and they did a ballad, as most power metal bands do on their album. This is going way back,
Right.
and it made it as the theme tune of a Korean sitcom or like some sort of drama.
Really?
And so yeah, and they sold like basically everyone was going nuts over this ballad, and so everyone went out and bought the album. And they're like, the rest of it is like speed metal,
That's
and they
amazing.
just couldn't handle it because it was too vastly different. So I hear what you're saying, particularly with someone like Sleep Token. Like I remember seeing Sleep Token at
Hmm.
Euroblast Festival a few years ago.
Hmm.
I think we actually played that festival as well, and like seeing like these crazy dudes in masks and stuff, and there's like a crowd of metalheads, and there's this beautiful kind of emotive ballad
Yes.
that's being performed. And I think if you weren't aware of what they're doing and you weren't aware of the zeitgeist, you just looked in. If you're like a passerby, you're just looking in, oh, there's a metal concert, and you're like, what the hell is happening? This is the most bizarre thing.
Where's the mosh? And everyone's hugging each other and crying. What?
Everyone's hugging each other, and they're wearing masks. God, I don't. They would just keep walking. I reckon they wouldn't understand it. But like, what is the planet? This is not a planet I want to be a part of. This is too weird.
Well, that's why I'm very happy that again. I think it's turning towards that, and there's still going to be like crazy extreme music, and that will never go away, right? But I like that it's becoming more of just a normal thing where it's just music, and like I said, it going through Eurovision in that capacity, I think is awesome. And yeah, so when it comes to Eurovision, so you guys did your thing. You placed, like, congratulations. Like, you guys did your job and you went in there and you held your ground. I gotta say, like, congrats for that.
We did.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys killed it. And then of course there's top two. Again, I'm just gonna keep calling them the Cha 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 band and Sweden. That goes on. How is it from your perspective in the band actually live there? Because it's so funny. You see like the live show and you see all the footage, and when Cha Cha Cha, that thing goes up. Oh my God. It looks like the whole place erupts because they're just so happy and stoked about that song. It seemed like everyone loved that song to death, no matter what happened. What was that from your perspective, being there and seeing it live?
It's so great, and it's such a like it's a meme, and it's like it's energy, and it's just, to me, it was right for Eurovision. And to be honest, I am kind of sad that it didn't win. I would have really liked a Finnish language song to win.
Right.
People are learning Finnish, and that's like so magical.
Right.
Especially talking to people from Finland, they're like, I can't believe our language is making it into the zeitgeist.
Right.
But when you're there and it comes on, it's just like, it is just electric. Like the energy is so awesome, and you're sitting there in your little booth, and it's kind of funny. It's obviously it was very much a 2-horse race this year, which explains a lot of the voting. The voting is like, you've got 20 points to allocate as you please, and the number of messages that I got, well, people were like, we wanted to give you more points. I'm sorry, Voyager. I'm sorry, other countries, but we had to give all our points to Finland because we desperately wanted them to win, and not Loreen from Sweden, and vice versa.
How competitive does it get on that side when it comes to like the more political stuff? Like, is it very competitive in that capacity and weird? And again, it's just a band. You're just there to play music in front of people. And does it get really weird and political in that way?
In that moment when the voting comes in, and like it gets intense and it's brutal, and it's like, the tension. God, it's such good television. Like, I've seen it as a fan, and you're just like, what? And there's the jury votes, and then we never thought we'd do well in the jury.
Is that
votes.
reality show just on its own? Like, you can have Eurovision, and then after they should film like a reality show behind the scenes of what happens. Yeah. Okay.
When people, exactly. That's a very. I'll pitch that.
There you go.
That. It's a good idea. Like, just have camera teams follow the artists, and it's like, these, oh no, and then the elation, all that sort of stuff. But it's weird because they're in the room, and then things get announced. The camera comes around, and tension is. They have decoy cameras to make sure that you're not. Yeah, they're so smart. So they come around, and they're like, oh God, is it me? What's going on? And then the camera moves away, and you're like, yeah, you tricked me. So you got to make sure that you're reacting appropriately. But yeah. It was kind of a weird moment this year, to be honest, because when Sweden came, it was kept coming up in the points. The crowd inside was chanting "cha cha 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 cha," which was kind of a bit awkward because you're like, oh, I like both of you. You're like your friends, and I've hung out with you, and let's not make this too competitive. But it is. It actually is. It's super brutal. You can cut the tension with a knife in that moment, but. Afterwards, it's kind of forgotten pretty quickly because the contest is so awesome and everyone really likes each other, and it's all just nice. And just there for that crazy 10-15 minutes of the voting process. So it's pretty nuts, to be honest. It's brutal.
How is the energy like after the, like, let's say like 20 minutes, voting's done, people have got the instant whatever, mad or happy out of the way? How is it after? Were people in this case still, because I know there was people just love that song, like, were people still kind of going like cha 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 even after all of that and just nonstop? Like, how was the scene, I guess, after?
It's pretty hectic because people obviously going to continue partying. A lot of people are just leaving, so it's pretty fast actually. People kind of disperse quite quickly. Gotcha. There's a lot of media, there's a lot of sort of interviews and things like that are done. But the the main thing you want to do is just say bye to people and go, hey, let's keep in touch. So you're just
Right.
frantically running around this venue trying to find people to hug, because it's like huge band camp, right? You've been on this band camp with these people for weeks and weeks, and you just want to hug them and say goodbye. But and there's a lot of commiserations. There's a lot of, hey, don't worry about it. And there's a lot of, I guess, recognition of the fact that it doesn't really matter where you come in Eurovision, whether it's first or last. It's what you do afterwards that counts. There's people who've won who've not done anything with it, and there's people who've come 15th who've done incredible things with their career. So I don't think this is the end of Cha Cha Cha, to be honest. I mean, he's charting everywhere. There's a Finnish language song charting at number 1 or whatever it is in so many countries. That in itself is a massive victory. Yeah. Was he down? Was he upset? I think so, because he really was the people's champion. But I don't think it detracts from the whole experience.
Yeah,
I remember when we came second and we got the popular vote. We were the people's champion in the tiny Australian scene, which is nowhere near as big as Eurovision, but it still felt good, because it felt like people come up to you in the street and they go, "You were robbed, and I love you," and it's a different kind of accolade.
Well, that's why I think it is so awesome that Eurovision is so huge that like you can come like last, and people will still like you're everything. You'll get opportunities, numbers will go up, like people will just be so stoked because it's such a big, crazy event, right? That it's everyone will win in some capacity. It's just the person that wins the win, they get that, and that's fine, right? But it's wild.
Look at Lord of the Lost. I mean, Lord of the Lost came last, right? They came last. Germany came last, and people go, "Oh, that's." It's like, no, they're fine. They're touring with Iron Maiden. Like, they're doing fine, mate. Don't worry.
They're doing just okay. I want to ask you, anything, of course, you can actually say, like, for Voyager, like, how has that experience changed your guys' life, both, I guess, personally, just like having the experience, but also as a band, more of the like opportunities and stuff like that, if you can announce any that you guys have gotten even from just being on Eurovision?
Yeah, I mean, the opportunities, look, our managers, like, my inbox is just absolutely just bursting at the seams. And it's fantastic, and even, coming home, I tried to have a burrito in the middle of the Perth city the other day, and like literally mid-bite, there was like people coming up saying, can I get a selfie? And it's like, okay, cool. That's the level now. So I don't know whether that continue now for a while, or it's just 10 minutes of fame.
Right.
I'm loving it. I'm basking in the
enjoy it. Oh, hell yeah. just enjoy that shit. Hell yeah.
I asked someone who is, let's call them a major celebrity in the UK. I was like, man, how do you deal with this? Like, selfies all the time. He goes, enjoy it until you don't enjoy it. And it's like, that's a good way of doing it. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. We've got Australian tour coming up. The shows are selling out. We've got a European tour, UK selling out. We are very, very much on route for coming to North America next year. Yeah. We really want to make it happen. And we're going to bring some of that Eurovision energy to North America. The last time we were there, I think, was in 2016. So we want to reignite that flame. We love touring there. It's amazing. We're getting opportunities. I think we said no. I don't know if I can say it. We said no to Kiss the other day. Kiss wanted us to play a show with them, in Sydney, and we're just like, sorry, we couldn't make it. We're touring Europe, sold out shows, and it's like,
sorry, and it's like, catch me next time, maybe.
I think it was like one of Kiss's last shows as well. I'm not sure whether it will be their last show or not, but it's like one of those things where you go, that's a pretty cool move. You ever say no to Kiss, as much as I would have liked to have said yeah.
Right. That's amazing. I mean, honestly, congratulations on that. Like, that's such a feat, and I love that. Even though you guys didn't win the number one thing, you guys won. There's no doubt, right? Like, you guys, you won in the eyes of so many people, and I'm sure just, again, opportunity wise, like, it must be, like you mentioned, your manager's inbox is just filled. It must be hilarious. You must just be sitting there laughing at just what, like, some of them you probably think are probably like scams. You're like, there's no way. Like, what?
There's no way. Yeah, like the Kiss thing. It's like, really? Kiss?
Yeah.
No, this is legitimate, And I think, I don't know, you kind of, there's a pivotal moment where you can manage your inbox, and you probably know this yourself. You're like, I can still reply to people.
Yep.
And then it's like, and you're like, I'm sorry, I just my time, I physically can't. Like, I want to go through it, but I'll need like 4 weeks just to triage.
Just a triage. Dude, 100%. Well, I guess I just have a couple of questions, Stella. Is number one, when it comes to Eurovision, what is something that unless you did Eurovision, people would have no clue about, you think? By going through the experience. What's like the biggest thing that maybe shocked you? You were like, wow, okay, I had no clue, I didn't know that.
Probably the fact that it's and I've said this before, but it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay.
So you have to. It's about energy conservation in some respect. It's about knowing when to give 100% and when to maybe dial it back to 98%, and not to just go absolutely crazy at every single moment, because you will burn out, you will lose your voice, and you will not be able to do the grand final. There was a couple of moments I had where I think you start fearing disappointing people, because I want to meet this family. There's like a fan club that have been really good to us in the past, and I want to meet them and I want to chat with them, but I can't fit it into my schedule. And if I do, there's another thing that I'm going to be talking. It's going to be too much, and then my performance will be compromised because I'm doing all this stuff, and then I want to please all these people. So I think it's about pacing. And if someone had told me that before, I know that's a very boring answer, but if someone told me that before, that Eurovision is about pacing yourself and making sure that you know what to do at what moments, I wouldn't have believed them. So that was a big learning experience. The other advice I would give to any other Eurovision artist doing it in the future is learn everyone else's songs, because if you're doing an interview with Lithuanian media, they'll be like, please sing the Lithuanian song. And
really?
Like, you better know.
They'll just ask that. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, shit. I never would have expected. That's
so fun. Learn the song, know about Eurovision history, become a fan, because people will see through if you're not really a fan. If you are a genuine Eurovision fan, then you'll have the people eating out of your hand, because they will connect with you on such a different level, because you're both connecting as fans. But yeah, learn everyone's songs. Whether you like them or not.
There you go, dude. I think that's great advice. I never thought like interviewers would be like, here, do it, like do the thing, and you're just like, what the fuck? I learned my song.
They're like literally like, please. I remember there was one moment on Maltese television. They're like, can you please perform the opening line from Malta's song? And I'm like, I knew it because I'm a big fan, right. But it's like, if you don't know it, that's a really embarrassing moment on live television.
Well,
and now for a blistering rendition of "Flight of the Bumblebee" on the guitar, it's Nik Nocturnal. Here you go, and you're like,
we don't need to do that one. We don't need to do that. No, man. Well, it's really cool seeing all that, and I appreciate you taking time. And like I said, congratulations on the success, and thank you, for doing something cool with Voyager in that capacity. I mean, you guys have been doing cool stuff, it seems like, for a long time, and I gotta check you guys out more. Again, I feel guilty because I'm like, damn, I only found out because of Eurovision, and I was like, this is a sick band. So
we got 7 albums, mate. You can work your way back. Maybe go back, like reverse chronological.
Okay.
The first album's a bit cringe, but we've got a lot of stuff.
The first album's a little cringe. Well, I'll definitely go back and check it out, man. But dude, thank you so much for taking time to come hang out, talk about Voyager, talk about you, talk about Eurovision, man. It's great, and I think again, a lot of people watching, I think it'll definitely give them some idea of just the whole process and everything, because it's such a big, crazy thing that not many people talk about this portion, like what goes on. Like the closest is the movie, which is obviously exaggerated, right? So it's cool to learn about all this stuff, man. So
thank you. Thank you for plugging it, and thank you for bringing it to more people. Like I really say, if you're not into Eurovision, get into it. If you're into sports at all, and if you're into music, it's the same sort of feeling.
It's our Super Bowl.
It's the Super Bowl, exactly.
Yeah, so we'll get. I'm gonna. They definitely won't let me. I'm gonna get banned. I'm gonna see if I can watch it on stream next year. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. They probably won't.
Do it. Yeah, I would love to see some live commentary, please.
That would be like the best content I probably ever do on this channel. But dude, thank you so much again. Congratulations. If you guys need everything, always feel free to reach out. And dude, much love and congratulations. Best of luck with all the crazy ass opportunities you guys got coming from this.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. It's
Awesome.
great to be on
Anytime.
the show.
Have a good morning. Oh my God,
Take
yes,
care.
it's so early. Have a good morning, man.
Oh, it's 7 a.m. Nick, I should be Danny Nocturnal now because that was a brutal hour.
Thank you, my dude. Have a beautiful day. All right, dude. Thank you so much.
Take care, mate. See ya.
See ya.